Recruit, E1 Seaman Recruit. You are 18 years old. You step off the bus at Recruit Training Command Great Lakes. The drill instructor is in your face before your feet touch pavement. You don't know his name yet. You don't need to. He is the loudest thing you have ever heard. You move fast. You stand in line. You get your head shaved down to nothing. The hair falls around your boots, and that is the last piece of who you were. You sleep in a rack with 80 strangers. You fold your clothes to exact measurements. A millimeter off, and it gets thrown across the room. You run in formation. You eat in under 3 minutes. You learn to make your body do what it's told. You have always been athletic. You have always been tough. But this is not about tough. This is about submission. You are being broken down. You don't know that yet. Bud/S applicant. You put in your contract for special warfare. The recruiter looks at you like he has heard it 1,000 times. He has. Most wash out before they ever get close. You start training on your own before the orders even arrive. 6 miles every morning. Hundreds of push-ups. Cold water swims in November. You read everything you can find about BUD/S. You have watched the documentaries. You think you know what is coming. You do not. The physical standards are just the price of admission. 42 push-ups in 2 minutes. 50 sit-ups. A 500-yard swim under 12.5 minutes. Pull-ups. A 1.5 mile run. You hit every number. Orders arrive. You are going to Coronado. You pack your bag and you do not sleep the night before. Bud/S. First phase. You arrive at Naval Special Warfare Center. The instructors do not greet you. They wet you down with a hose before your bag hits the ground. The Pacific Ocean is 58 degrees. You find that out immediately. You do log PT in the surf zone while waves crash over you and sand grinds into your skin. Your arms burn. Your legs burn. You cannot feel your hands. The man next to you quits on the second day. He rings a brass bell 3 times and puts his helmet on the ground in a line with the others. You do not look at him. You cannot afford to. Every evolution is harder than the last. Flutter kicks in the cold water. Push-ups until someone passes out. 2-mile ocean swims in open water. Timed runs in soft sand that swallows your feet. You eat the pain. You tell yourself you are fine. You are not fine, but you stay. Hell Week. It starts on a Sunday night. You have been awake for 36 hours before it officially begins. 5.5 days with no sleep. You run more than 200 miles total. You carry telephone poles and rubber boats over your head for miles of beach. You are cold every single second. Hypothermia is a real and constant threat. Men drop. Real men. Strong men. Men who benched 300 pounds and ran marathons before they got here. They ring the bell. You do not ring the bell. By day 3, your brain stops working properly. You hallucinate. You see shapes in the surf that are not there. Your feet blister and split open. Your body stops feeling like yours. But your boat crew is still moving. You move with them. Hour by hour. That is the only math that matters right now. Phase 2. Combat diving. Hell Week is over. You sit in the chow hall and eat and eat and eat. You sleep for 12 hours without moving. Then you are back. Phase 2 is dive phase. You learn closed circuit and open circuit underwater breathing systems. You conduct combat swimmer operations in San Diego Bay in 0 visibility. Instructors flood your mask 20 feet underwater and watch what you do. You stay calm. You clear it. You keep breathing. They pull your regulator out of your mouth in the dark. You find it. You breathe. They tie your dive equipment in knots while you are submerged. You fix it with cold fingers you can barely feel. Panic kills you here. Panic kills everyone here. You learn to be completely comfortable, being completely uncomfortable in total darkness, 40 feet below the surface. Phase 3. Land warfare. You move to San Clemente Island. 8 weeks in the field. You learn demolitions. You wire charges and they blow. You learn small unit tactics. You move through terrain at night with no lights and no sound. You shoot in low visibility. You call in airstrikes on a radio while lying flat in dirt. You build and breach. You run patrols and set ambushes, and your instructors grade everything, every movement, every decision, every shot. Your body is wrecked from 8 months of this. But something has shifted in you. You are not the person who stepped off the bus at Great Lakes. You are precise. You are controlled. You are quiet in a way you were never quiet before. You finish phase 3. You are almost there. SQT, SEAL Qualification Training. 6 more months. Advanced shooting, airborne operations, military freefall. You attend SERE school. You get captured and interrogated for days without sleep. You give your name, rank, and serial number. They take everything else. You starve. You freeze. You hold stress positions for hours while someone talks calmly into your ear. You learn what your mind does when your body has nothing left. It either holds or it folds. Yours holds. You cover JTAC operations, combat medicine, advanced diving applications, and direct action planning. You become a functional warfighter. The layers keep coming. You graduate SQT. They pin a gold trident on your chest in a ceremony with your family watching. The trident weighs 11 ounces. It feels like it weighs everything you have ever done. E4, the new guy. You check into your team. Your platoon chief looks you over once. He does not look impressed. You are a new guy, a nugget. You carry the heaviest equipment on every movement. You show up first and you leave last. You never speak unless spoken to in a tactical environment. Senior operators test you constantly. It is not hazing. It is calibration. They need to know if you will break when it matters. You absorb. You watch how the experienced men move. You watch how they think. You make mistakes and get corrected hard. You do not make the same mistake twice. You deploy for the first time. The plane lands in a country you cannot name publicly. The heat hits you like a wall. This is not training anymore. E5, first deployment. Your first kinetic operation happens at 2 in the morning. You stack on a door in a compound on the edge of a city you have never heard of. The breach charge blows. You flow through the entry. Your white light comes on, and everything inside is loud and fast and real. No one rings a bell here. You perform exactly how you trained. Exactly. Your hands move without you telling them to. Your eyes work the corners. You communicate without thinking about it. After it is over, your hands shake for a few minutes. You do not mention that. Nobody mentions it. You eat and you sleep, and you do it again tomorrow night. By the end of deployment, you have been on over 40 operations. You come home different. You cannot fully explain how to anyone who was not there. A6, Petty Officer, First Class, Proven Operator. You are a mid-grade guy now. Multiple deployments. You have been in the dark on 4 continents. You know what the job actually is versus what people think it is. It is long stretches of nothing interrupted by moments where everything happens simultaneously. You are running assault as a primary shooter. The younger guys look at you the way you used to look at the senior operators. You carry that seriously. You have lost teammates. Not many, but enough. You have stood at funerals where a flag gets folded and handed to a wife you have had dinner with, whose kids you know by name. That weight does not leave. You carry it every day underneath everything else you are carrying. You re-enlist without hesitation. This is the only thing you have ever wanted to be. E6, Sniper Pipeline. You get selected for the SEAL Sniper course. 7 weeks of instruction across multiple locations. You shoot thousands of rounds. You learn to read wind at distance. You learn to breathe and press the trigger on the exhale and hold the crosshair exactly where it needs to be at the exact moment it needs to be there. You build hides in terrain and lie motionless for hours. You calculate range, temperature, humidity, and elevation simultaneously. You engage targets at over 1,000 yards. Your spotter calls wind. You make the adjustment. You shoot. You graduate. You come back to the team quieter than before. There is something about precision at distance that changes the way you see everything else. You cannot explain it to anyone outside the community. You do not try. E7, Chief Petty Officer. You make chief. There is a tradition attached to the selection. You sit across a table from a panel of master chiefs and senior chiefs who ask you questions you are expected to know. You know them. You pin on anchors. You are no longer just an operator. You are a leader. You run the platoon training cycle. You set the standard. When someone fails to meet it, that is your problem. You write evaluations. You fight for your guys in rooms they never enter. You manage injuries, egos, and readiness all at once. You still shoot, you still dive, you still go downrange. But now your job is to make everyone around you sharper, faster, and harder to kill than they were when they arrived. E7 Chief, Workup Cycle. Your platoon is in pre-deployment workup. 8 months of training building toward full mission capability. You run the schedule, range days, medical rehearsals, vehicle interdiction, helicopter operations, direct action, special reconnaissance, personnel recovery, counter-terrorism. Each training block builds on the last one. You push the platoon, and you push yourself harder because they are watching everything you do. 2 guys carry minor injuries through the cycle. You manage them carefully. One has a problem at home that is getting worse. You handle it before it becomes something bigger. By the end of workup, your platoon is sharp and coordinated and ready. You deploy together, and it runs clean from the first night. That is not luck. That is 8 months of preparation made real. E8, Senior Chief. Senior Chief. 16 years of service in your body. 2 surgeries on your right knee. A shoulder that pops in cold weather. Tinnitus from thousands of rounds downrange across a decade of combat. You do not complain about any of it. You sit in planning sessions at the troop level now. You are the bridge between the officers and the enlisted. When a junior officer makes a call that is tactically unsound, you tell him, professionally and directly. He adjusts. That is the relationship. You mentor chiefs the way chiefs once mentored you. You have watched the community change over 16 years. Equipment changes. Tactics change. The threats change. The standard does not. You defend that standard every single day because the standard is what keeps your people alive. E8, Instructor Duty. You get orders to BUD/S as a senior instructor. You stand on the beach at Coronado in the same surf zone where you nearly broke 12 years ago. Now you hold the hose. You stand in dry clothes and watch candidates shiver in 58-degree water, and you remember exactly what that feels like. You assess them constantly. You watch their eyes during the hard evolutions. You can identify in the first week who will graduate and who will not. It is not always the biggest or the fastest candidate. It is the ones who find a quiet place inside the noise and operate from there. You push them because the enemy will not care how exhausted they feel. You push them because you genuinely care what happens to them when they get to a team and go downrange for the first time. E9, Master Chief. You make Master Chief. There are fewer than 400 Master Chiefs in the entire United States Navy. In the SEAL community, the number is smaller still. 22 years of service. You sit at the senior enlisted level of a Naval Special Warfare Command. You advise the commanding officer. You influence policy and training standards and resource allocation. You attend meetings where decisions get made that affect hundreds of people. You speak plainly. You do not overstate or editorialize. You have the credibility to say exactly what needs to be said and have it land. Junior operators see your record, and they see deployments and awards and schools completed. They do not see the cost behind any of it. You do not show them the cost. You show them the standard. E9, Command Master Chief. You take the position of Command Master Chief for a SEAL team. You are the senior enlisted advisor to the commanding officer of 200 operators. When a young SEAL is struggling, when a marriage is failing quietly, when a man is drinking too much after his 3rd consecutive combat deployment, they come to you, or you go to them first. You have seen what this career does to people over time. You have lived pieces of it yourself. You have had the hard conversations that nobody else in the building is positioned to have. You have watched good men leave the community because they could not reconcile who they were at war with, who they needed to be at home. You carry all of that alongside everything else. That is the job. Lieutenant Commander, Troop Commander. The officer side runs parallel. You commissioned through the Naval Academy. You went through BUD/S, the same as every enlisted candidate. The ocean at 58 degrees does not care about your degree. You were a platoon commander leading 16 men on combat deployments. You were screened and selected for troop commander. Now you run 60 operators across multiple platoons. You manage the troop through training cycles and deployments, and the grinding administrative weight of running a military unit at war. You are accountable for everything your troop does and fails to do, completely and without exception. You have made decisions under pressure and accounted for them afterward. Some were right. You do not stop thinking about the ones that were not. Commander, Squadron. You command a SEAL squadron deployed forward in a combat theatre. Multiple troops, a support element, intelligence, logistics, and communications all reporting to you. You sit in a tactical operations center and watch live feeds of your operators moving on targets you helped plan and approve. You speak to general officers on a secure line. You speak to your Master Chief afterward to find out what is actually happening at the ground level, because those are two different conversations. You know the gap between what higher headquarters wants and what your people can realistically execute. You are the one who closes that gap. You decide whether an operation launches or holds. If it goes wrong, you own it, fully and without qualification. Rear Admiral, Flag Officer. You wear 1 star. You command a naval special warfare group. 30 years have brought you here. You have been downrange. You have been in the mud and the cold and the dark, and everyone who reports to you knows it. Some days you are in the Pentagon. Other days you are on a C-17, flying to a forward operating base in a country that does not appear in the press coverage. You testify before Congress about special operations requirements and capability gaps. You fight budget battles that feel nothing like combat, but carry similar consequences. You have people working to change what it means to be a SEAL for reasons that have nothing to do with winning wars or keeping your people alive. You do not let that happen quietly. You hold the line. The last chapter. You are 54 years old. You stand in a gymnasium at Naval Amphibious Base Coronado in your dress uniform. Today is your retirement ceremony. The flags are lined up. The chairs are full. Your teammates are here, the ones still alive, the ones still whole. There are gaps in the room that everyone feels and nobody names. You have buried 23 teammates across this career. You carry them, and you will carry them for whatever time you have left. They play the national anthem, and you stand at attention. The trident is still on your chest. It has been there for 30 years. You earned it in the cold water off this beach when you were 22 years old, and you have earned it every single day since. The ceremony ends. Someone hands you a folded flag. You drove past the brass bell on your way in this morning. You did not ring it.